Nice to have everyone back here. We are talking to you today about the high tunnel that we use here at Taylor Grove. 20 foot wide and 48 feet long. This is a high tunnel. Some people will call them a greenhouse. They are not technically a greenhouse. You grow in the dirt underneath plastic roof. That becomes a high tunnel. This was often talked about in construction. Industry term is plasticulture. This was built in 2016, nod to Tunnel Vision High Tunnels in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Todd did a managed install with us here, which was a really affordable option for us. For what it would have cost me to have the products all shipped to me and with a set of instructions, Todd delivered it himself. I basically provided the labor and built, and then he was like our instructor as we built. We're gonna talk about ventilation. It's got different options. The roll-up sides. Roll-up sides can be mechanical or they can be manual, and we have manual roll-ups. With this crank, we can change the temperature inside in 3 minutes, and we can change it extremely fast this way. Both sides, the entire length, crank up. I would close it down in the fall and the spring when there's a risk of frost, which we can have a frost here where I'm at in 6A, 6B in the mountains of West Virginia, up until Memorial Day. And then our normal first frost in the fall comes around mid-October. Sometimes we can get as late as October 31st. This is part of the structural integrity, I would say. It's built with wiggle wire. These channels, you just wiggle it in, and the excess plastic is locked inside this channel that I'm showing you, and it can't escape. Very easy to construct. We have a thermostat, which is responded to. I have a fan and a vent, and I'm gonna just run this for a second, and then we'll turn it off, keep the sound down for the mic, but that helps us ventilate this fan back here, and we can turn over the cubic feet of air in this building can be turned over in one and a half minutes, which that's an absolutely critical factor in keeping the plant tissue from molding or getting different powdery mildews and molds from spreading. These are a drawbridge style shelf. We got these also from Tunnel Vision. As you can see down here below, we've got our fall run of plants in that'll stay with us until probably mid-December before it gets too cold in here, and we've made it as far as January 2nd or 3rd. Before I finally get too cold, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But these fold up and let us access down there where we just saw, or they can drop down, which gives us a boatload of space in the spring. We have 2 of these. We'd like to do more. They were $300 a piece, I believe. It gives us a lot of flexible shelf space. I think we can fit 12 flats that way, like this. And we can turn them like this and fit another 4 probably. So that lets us get a good start in the spring as far as the nursery side of getting our flowers started. Got this as an old bread shelf. That's a shelf I got from a flea market. And then we've built our own shelving out of wood from my brother-in-law's sawmill, 8Z Timber Products. And some plastic I think we got through Tunnel Vision as well. It's kind of shoddy looking, but I'm not a carpenter, I'm a gardener. We also build your classic, and everybody's used to these, your cinder block and pallet tables. We have our planting station. This is where both of us will work. We'll set the flats up here in the spring, pre-filled with dirt. I'll spend January, February on the warm days or the days that I can come out here and it might be 25 outside and it'll be 50 in here, or maybe even 60 or 70, depends on how much sun's out. I can come out here and pre-fill the flats with our potting soil. So we'll just grab from here and start and put our seeds in. I think we've probably talked about it on our first video, but a whole bunch of our stuff comes from Johnny's Seed in Maine. Absolutely awesome company, employee owned. Really great breakdown on the back. They give you the days to maturity and whatever. This is a pumpkin Jarradale, but it's a really neat pumpkin. I've got electric. We do have electric out here. I have 8 outlets, 4 outlets run down each side. Probably way overkill, but it helps this place double as a shop almost for us. It's not just a high tunnel, and it's not just a greenhouse. We do a lot of different construction in here for the farm. My brother-in-law, Billy, helped us do the wiring there as a pro bono. He traded us for vegetables, so I make sure I thank Billy for that. This is how we heat in the wintertime. This guy's got its own thermostat. He's diesel powered. That thermostat I set way down here on 30 degrees Fahrenheit. 30, well, it's probably 33 actually. And it will kick on and off and keep us alive essentially from not freezing. I have no insulation in here up until the outside temperature is 25 degrees. I don't start growing in here until March in our climate. But if it gets a really cold snap in March, that's how we stay hot. Underneath this, underneath these boards, I have a ditch dug, but you can see it down through here. So we walk on top of that all year long. Free water, no chlorine, no chemicals, caught off the rain that hits the roof of the high tunnel. And so if I'm running short on time, I will plug my pump in and I will just flood the fat pathways in the high tunnel. That'll water the tomato rows, the dahlia rows, and then I'll move the hose over 20 minutes later and it'll flood the eucalyptus row. I'll move it over 20 minutes later and it'll flood the second eucalyptus row. And I don't have to do any watering. We'll talk about the things we grow in here. And first thing I'll talk about is it has no flowers at all. This is our different tomatoes. But I use cattle panels, which is this metal back here. And I've got it secured with zip ties up there. Those are roof bolts from a mining factory that's close here to the house. Aesthetically, it's pretty. It's really quick and easy, as you can see, for me to tie to. We just leave our tie wire hanging. We can weave the tomato. That easy. And now next week I'll come back and weave this. Will be growing up enough to go in that slot. So you don't have to tie very much, and we leave it up all year round. This is the pathways. Some of the time we have wood chips in the pathways. Right now I don't yet. I'll probably do that in the fall. This is be a raised bed technically, and this is just kind of from foot traffic. We trample this down. But we have 5 rows in here that are about 3 feet wide. With what I'm shooting for is 18-inch wide walking paths. This is a dahlia. Dahlias are grown from tubers. Absolutely show-stopping, beautiful bloom. We plant these as a tuber in the ground. 9 weeks, 10 weeks, you've got something this tall. They need staked. And this is the first year we've had dahlias in here. We're gonna try to overwinter them in here without having to dig them up. Save us a bunch of labor. This is silver drop eucalyptus, which broke down into a display, one of Andy's displays. Absolutely amazing. The color of the foliage, then the smell. You're hitting multiple senses with this. And this is obviously, I think everyone knows, koalas eat eucalyptus, comes from Australia. It's something we order seeds from annually, normally. Well, the last 3 years, there's been brush fires in Australia. You can't get seeds at all. Johnny's is where I normally get my seeds. So I went to Etsy and was able to get 1 package 2 years ago. And from that, I'm cultivating this, which is about 25 plants. This row here was actually dug up and took inside last year. This is only hardy to like USDA zone 9. So it won't live if sustained temperatures get below 30 degrees, it'll kill it. So it's a very tropical plant. I dug these all up. Last year, these all were only about this big. I dug them up, took them inside. I called it the Ark. As an experiment to see if the high tunnel would keep it, I left these 10 plants in the ground inside the high tunnel. And these guys are behind, but they made it. And so now I've got, hopefully next winter, winter 22, 23, we'll keep our eucalyptus in here permanently and continue to cut off it. But here's another. See how big this one got, and see this shoot? This is amazing to have in her arrangements. And as far as a local cut flower to have this, it gives us I think it separates us from a lot of our competition. Wrapping this thing up, guys, if there's anything that you want to see us do, put it in the comments, ask any question that I can answer. I'll do the best I can to help you out. Subscribe for more, and we'll keep you updated with our progress throughout the year. Appreciate you guys a lot. Notice the cool color of this. There's not very many corn plants I see that look like this. This is an Indian corn, absolutely beautiful decoration for the fall. We'll check on the corn next time.